Yo, what's up, and welcome to the NQ Futures Navigators channel. And in this video, I will be basically breaking down a trade I took on June 6th. And even though this trade was 6 months ago, it will be an insight on how I will be breaking down trades in the future on this channel, and how I will be basically explaining the trades I do, all the regular, breakdowns of my trade. And what I do trade is I do trade NAS 100 only. I will maybe trade S&P 500, but I rarely do that. My biggest thing is I do trade NAS 100 futures, and I do trade with real money on a live account. I don't trade funded at the moment, but this is with real money on a live account. This is 1 year into my trading journey, and the start of this January would be the start of my second year in into my trading journey. And this is basically the trade I took. Yeah, so I trade real money on a live account. I trade NAS 100, and let me get into the history of this trade right here. So I took a long. I bought in a long contract, and it turned on me, and I did 2 contracts on the long position I did buy into. So I went down 588 points. Then I waited, I looked back, I looked at the market, and I went in for another 2 contract long position at a pivot point, or not at a pivot point, at a breakout point. And what happened is I did get 10 points, so I did take 1 contract off, and I put the other contract at a very, very low risk. And yeah, so the 1 contract I took off at 10 points granted me $200, which brought my closed PL from down 588 to down 387 now. And the $1 is through contract fees. So, and I just basically holding on to this 1 contract right now, and as you can see, it's just bouncing around 15,007, 15,005, it's 1200, around 1300. And basically after this clip I'm showing right now, I will be going into how I took this trade, how I took the previous loss, and what I fixed from it, and basically just a full-on breakdown of this trading day in general. And as you can see, I'm getting near the end of the clip. I do close out my position at $1,360, which is at 15,014.75 for the price. And yeah, I managed to turn a $588 loss into a $995 gain. And I do switch over to MNQ. And also, one thing, in the future, for the first 2 months of this trading YouTube channel, I will be trading MNQ, not NQ, as I am trying to stay consistent with a strat, and I don't want to risk my whole account while doing it. So I'll scale down for now. And yeah, in the breakdown of the chart, now let's get into it. So I saw in this bullish candlestick, this one, I saw it reject from the bottom, but also it covered the past 2 wicks. So I decided to draw this as my support level, which will come in handy. And I saw a rejection from the top here, and I saw a bearish candlestick, so I decided to draw this as my resistance level, which will come in handy. And yeah, the trade I did take is I did take a buy. I bought in right over here, this green bullish candlestick, which I thought it was gonna be a breakout of these wicks over here, but it wasn't a breakout of those wicks over there. So what happened is when I bought in, it shot down and I lost the trade and I was down 500. That's all there is to it. I read the chart, or I didn't follow my strat. My strat was specifically to have this bullish candlestick close above these wicks, above the momentum shifts, and I didn't follow the strat and I got punished for it. That's all there is to it. But I did take note of these rejections and I created a new kind of resistance level, just connecting it to the previous one. And I noticed that when I did do that and it came down, there was a double bottom trade here that you could have taken at the big rejection from this bearish candlestick that went near this support level, and you had this big bullish candlestick. You could have bought in here and put your stop loss here, and you would have taken very little heat and you would have got a big trade off at like 15 points. So that's a trade I didn't take because in previous I was very new to trading. Like I said, this was my first year, so I didn't really catch on to these. But you did have the rejection into the new resistance level. Resistance level we did draw, and it bounced off that, came back into the moving averages, kind of like bounced around. And I did take note of this big rejection. Also, one thing I did take note of is the moving averages, they started to spread apart. And when that happens, that means money is starting to flow in the market. As you can see previously, all of these moving averages, they're all tight. So like everything becomes kind of choppy, not a great place to trade. So I'm down at this point my 587, and I decide to actually follow my strat this time. So when this bullish candlestick, this green one, closed above the momentum shift of this bearish candlestick, I decided to buy in, put my stop loss, and I knew we were gonna get a base out at this level because of the resistance level we drew earlier. Look at that, perfectly bases out in that level and it shoots out. So that's how I also know to stick in the trade. So when this bullish candlestick closed, I moved my stop loss over here, and when this one closed, I moved my stop loss over here, and I trailed upwards with it. I didn't close out, I didn't close the trade out, I truly let it run and trailed my stop loss until we got to the end of the video, which was over here, where I decided to finally close out my trade. And another reason why I knew to stay in the trade is you had support on the moving average, this green moving average line. You had support on it. As you can see, you had a rejection from this bearish candlestick, and then you had another rejection turning into a bullish candlestick. Same thing over here, you had a rejection turning into a bullish candlestick. And the reason why I decided to get out of the trade over here is I knew this support level might hold for a third time. That's usually how it is, and it did. You had the rejection here into this bullish candlestick, and I knew that after that it wasn't probably gonna do another rejection on a support level, so I decided to close out the trade there. And also it did start to get a bit choppy in this area, like base around these levels or so I didn't feel comfortable. I just closed it out, and yeah, that's basically it. I marked out my support and resistance levels. I could have got into the trade here on the double bottom, which would have worked very much, and I used the resistance level kind of as a risk management because I knew it was gonna go, if it went into the resistance level, which it did go into it, it was gonna base around this area. So I can place my stop loss over here, trail with it. So if it comes back down, I'm up in the trade, and that's how you manage your risk. You're gonna head into a zone like this, which people are gonna hold for a bit. And if you don't want to lose on the trade, you move your stop loss up, which now the stop loss is a 1-to-1 trade. So it worked perfectly for a 1-to-1 trade for me. If it did come crashing down, it would have worked perfectly for a 1-to-1 trade. But unfortunately, it didn't do that, and it kept going up. And I had all of my indicators telling me to hold in, and that's basically it. That's basically the breakdown of the trade I took that day. And this is how breakdowns of trades are gonna happen in the future for this channel. They're gonna be quick, I mean, it's basically how trading is. There's not so much you can truly explain about it. You just have a simple strat, follow it, and you go in. You overthink it, your emotions are going to get to you, and it's going to be all bad. So that's basically it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.